Welcome back again to another session of our English class. Hope you have written all the answers. Question number 15. What was the answer? Why was Mr. Thorett taken aback? That was the question. Do you remember last class we dealt with it? When the cage was opened, the tiger jumped out and started to move about violently. So that is why. That means it did not behave in a good manner, or it sprang, it jumped, etc., etc. That is why he he taken aback. Then question number 16. What might be the reason for the tiger's unexpected behavior? What might be the reason? Look at your answer. It was let free at the first time. What reason when the tiger behave? Maybe the crowd made it uneasiness. There were a lot of people, camera and something, light, etc., etc. Maybe another reason. So, tiger we can assume that. It was let free, and it saw the crowd, and it saw the camera crew, the camera, the light, etc., etc. So it might be a reason. So you can write that. That is according to you. And question number 17. How does Ray describe the situation humorously? That I told you in the last class. What was the reason, or why did he, or how he did? How did he? So what did he say? We stood around foolishly watching a new and strange kind of circus which we were getting to see for free. That is humorous. Next one, question number 18, I think. Yes. What did Ray mean when he said this should have been the end of the story? This should have the end. What do you mean? That means the camera, he believed that the shooting was full, it was complete. Shooting was complete. But when he reached Calcutta, he found that the camera was not functioned properly. So he had to retake. So he had to, that is why he tells so. Next, that's why he told so. Question number 19 also belongs to that class, last class. Why was Mr. Thorett asked to give another door? The same reason. The reason is same. Answer is same. And then the camera failed to work properly, and the scenes were to be shooted again. That is why he wanted her to give another go. Okay, hope you have your answers were correct, and if you have doubt, you should not be afraid to talk to me. You should call me, or you can give message to me. One more paragraph is there. Last day we cannot complete as the time. Let us look on page number 49. There is one more paragraph. He opened the door of the cage the instant. So do you remember where? Second. So what is the difference there? What's the difference there? The people were not obeying the commands of the crew. Camera crew and the total crew was asked them to stay 70 feet distance, but they did not. They were not listening anything. People crowded. Anyway, he opened means Thorett opened the door of the cage. The instant the door was opened with a clang sound of that. Body there is a clang sound. Our tiger emerged with a loud roar. Emerged means came out. And charged straight at the villagers. So a lot of people were gathered there. Charged means charged. Run. Charged straight at the villagers gathered behind the camera. A lot of people were gathering behind the camera. So the tiger charged against them, and behind the crowd consisting of about 150 people crowd consisting, there was about 150 people were there, and ഈ 150ഓളം വരുന്ന ആളുകൾ at that time what happened, melted away as if by magic. Melted away. Melt എന്നതാ, what is it? ഉരുകി പോവുക. Here disappeared. Melted means disappeared as magic. വല്ല മാജിക് കാണിച്ചത്. ഇവർ 70 അടി ദൂരെ നിൽക്കണം എന്നൊക്കെ പലവട്ടം പറഞ്ഞതാണ്, but they did not obey. But when the tiger charged, came out from the lorry and charged against the crowd, they melted away. They melted as if by magic. After that great burst of energy, ആ ചാട്ടം കളിയൊക്കെ പാടെ കഴിഞ്ഞപ്പോൾ, then the tiger calmed down very quickly, very easily, quickly it became calm. Then like an obedient child, it walked over to the spot where we had chosen. It walked to that particular place. Like an obedient child, it walked, then paced about quietly as required. Then it walked, paced. അങ്ങനെ ചാടി നടന്നു. Paced എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ particular, that means walked തന്നെയാണ്, but what is the difference? That is style of walking of the tiger, like animals. സിംഹവും ടൈഗറും ഒക്കെ നടക്കുന്ന പോലുള്ള ആ നടത്തത്തെയാണ് പേസ് നമ്മൾ ഉദ്ദേശിക്കുന്നത്. Paced about quietly as if required, as it was required, and then ambled back to the trainer and came back. ഒതുങ്ങിക്കൂടി, ambled back to the trainer. Even the camera behaved this time very well. Camera was also performed very well. Even the camera this time, which was released 2 days later when we returned to Calcutta and saw the scenes were had shot. The scenes shot were very good. It was very clear. These scenes were shot clearly. So we are satisfied with the scenes. When we realized it after 2 days, because we returned, then checked the scenes. It was functioning very well. So that was the end of the story. Hope Satyajit Ray, it was a very, very important thing. In last 6th standard, you may have studied another lesson. It was also Satyajit Ray's. There was some relation between the story. That is making a mango pickle. Do you remember? Baby and so anyway, Satyajit Ray's touch was there, and here also Satyajit Ray's very important lesson here, and a lot of questions were asked for almost all examinations from this lesson. So it is very important. So the name itself is the unit name, frame. So it is. Next story is also frame. Frame means the screen name, but frame ഉദ്ദേശിക്കുന്നത്. Okay, let us look at the questions are there. What are the questions? We have already discussed question number 19. Hope there are 3 more questions. What is the magic performed by the tiger? What is the magic? You know that magic. What is the magic performed by the tiger? When the tiger charged or came out or came down from the lorry and charged against the crowd, there must almost 150 people were there crowded, and they were asked to stay 70 feet away, but they did not obey. So when charged, all the people disappeared. That was the magic. So you should write the answer. Next, question number 20. What was? 20 is already told, right? Next one. What was really required of the tiger in that scene? What was really required? What was really? The tiger emerged with a loud roar. What was really required of the tiger in that scene? എങ്ങനെ വരണം എന്നായിരുന്നു യഥാർത്ഥത്തിൽ വേണ്ടത്? എങ്ങനെ? ടു വാക്ക് ഓവർ ടു ദ സ്പോട്ട് ആൻഡ് മൂവ് അബൌട്ട് ക്വൈറ്റ്ലി. അതാണ് വേണ്ടിയിരുന്നത്. ലാസ്റ്റ് സീൻ ആൾസോ, ലാസ്റ്റ് ടൈം ആൾസോ they shooted in the same manner, but it did not happen, and at last they controlled the tiger and shooted, but what happened? The camera did not function last time, not now. Palalla boralla ade. Okay, now how to walk? To walk over the spot and move quietly, move about quietly. That was to walk over. അതാണ് ആ സീനാണ് ഷൂട്ട് ചെയ്യേണ്ടത്. To walk over to that spot and move quickly. That was to be happened. Then what did Ray and his team realize 2 days later? 2 days later, what did they realize? What did they realize? They checked the scenes and found that camera worked properly. So anyway, we have what is called completed this lesson, and there are some activities are left. So you may please turn over page number 50. Let us revisit activity. Satyajit Ray and his friends had to shoot the scenes involving the tiger twice at Nottingham and Borel. It was in Nottingham. Last class you remember Nottingham. That was the name of the first shooting place. Second it is Borel. So there is some difference. That is why I told you while I told you in the last class that it is very important. Two scenes or two shooting scenes are there. So what are some of the differences are there. So write the events that took place in both the places in a sequential order and then describe shooting. So what happens? Sequential order. So in that way you have to write. First look at the left side. Found a suitable bamboo grove in the Nottingham. Then a lorry arrived with two well-fed tigers. Then something is missing. You have to write that in your textbook. The shots were dark owing to poor light. So owing to poor light, the shots were dark. So in this way, first shooting is complete. First shooting is complete. And sequential അതിനിടയിൽ സംഭവിച്ച കാര്യങ്ങളൊക്കെ 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 കോളംസിൽ ഒതുങ്ങുന്ന രീതിയിൽ എല്ലാ കാര്യങ്ങളും ഉൾക്കൊള്ളുന്ന രീതിയിൽ കുറേശ്ശെ you just write only in textbook. Okay. Now shooting at Borel. Borel എന്തൊക്കെ സംഭവിച്ചു? Found a bamboo grove near Borel in Calcutta. Then what happened there? People crowded, around 150 people crowded there, and Ray and its men asked them to stay behind, something like that. Then at the end what happened? The scenes were found, camera performed very well at this time. So hope you have understood what you have to do. You just write in your textbook only. So that's all the activity number 1. Then again, do you have any more doubt? You can ask. Next activity 2. Ray and his friends visited the Bharat Circus in the Calcutta Tiger to be filmed for his movie Goobi Gaine Baga Baine. He spoke to the manager of the circus company. What would Ray have spoken at a conversation between Ray and the manager? So I hope you have written that activity. You have done in your while in it was you have. I hope you have done in your on our vacation class also and Victor channel class also. You have done it. I hope. And whatever maybe you may have written somewhere else, but you have to write in your notebook. Okay, your fair notebook, not in rough notebook, English notebook. It must be there. After writing the heading, you have already started writing question answers. Then after that, you have to write activity number 1 in textbook, activity 2 in your notebook. It must be there. You may have written it, and you may have sent me. You may have sent it, but you may not have written in your notebook. So you should write it in your notebook. Okay, activity 2. Then activity 3, read the sentence from the article. Alfred Hitchcock decided to make a film called The Birds. In the story, birds from all over the world start attacking humans. Hitchcock needed a variety of birds, but what was required? A large number of ravens. Notices were placed in the press all over the United States, asking people to contact the filmmaker. So do you remember the lines from the story? Yes, of course you remember. Now, what is there? That means here Alfred Hitchcock needs a lot of birds, especially ravens. So what did he do? Notices were placed in newspaper. We should prepare a notice. How Alfred Hitchcock how did he prepare a notice? Or how will it be? How would it be? A notice. You just do it in your notebook, not in textbook. വളരെ ഭംഗിയായിട്ട് ഒരു കോളൊക്കെ വരച്ച് ഒരു സിംഗിൾ പേജിൽ അപ്പുറപ്പുറം പകുതി ആക്കരുത്. ഏതെങ്കിലും പേജിൻ്റെ ഒരു സ്ഥലത്ത് കുറച്ച് ബാക്കിയുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ അവിടെ എഴുതി തുടങ്ങുന്നു വേണ്ട. ലീവ് ദാറ്റ് സ്പേസ്. ദെൻ ഇൻ എ ന്യൂ പേജ് ജസ്റ്റ് റൈറ്റ് ദ ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ, then prepare that notice in a single page. Notice full ആയിട്ട് ഒരു പേജിൽ തന്നെ. Whenever you are writing examination itself, പരീക്ഷ എഴുതുമ്പോഴും അതുപോലെ തന്നെ ആയിരിക്കണം. that നോട്ടീസിൻ്റെ പകുതി ഒരു പേജിലും പകുതി വേറൊരു പേജിലാകരുത്. should be in a single page. വേണമെന്നെങ്കിൽ അതിനൊരു 4 ഭാഗം ഒരു വരയൊക്കെ എടുത്തിട്ടൊരു ഫ്രെയിമൊക്കെ കൊടുത്ത് ഒരു ഔട്ട്ലൈനൊക്കെ കൊടുത്ത് അതിനകത്ത് നോട്ടീസ് വളരെ ഭംഗിയായിട്ട് നോട്ടീസ് എന്നൊക്കെ വരുന്നത് സെൻറ്ററിലൊക്കെ ആയിട്ട്. സോ യു നോ ദാറ്റ് യു ഹാഡ് ഓൾറെഡി സ്റ്റഡീഡ് ഇൻ the standard I told you. So in that proper way you should prepare a notice. Hope you have already prepared the same notice in our classes. That means Victor channel or vacation class may have written, even though this also should be in your notebook. The textbook may not, the space is not given, proper space is not given, so you should do that also. Okay, activity number 3. Then activity 4, according to the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals Act, if an animal is used for purpose of it shall be according to the strict norms suggested by the act. Animalsനെ യൂസ് ചെയ്യണമെങ്കിൽ ദർ ഇസ് എ യൂസിങ് ആനിമൽ എന്നിട്ടൊരു ആക്റ്റൊക്കെ ഉണ്ട്. ആ നിയമത്തിന് അതിന് വിധേയമായിക്കൊണ്ട് മാത്രമേ ഏതൊരു മൃഗത്തെ, അതുകൊണ്ട് നോ അനിമൽ ഹീസ് എന്നൊക്കെ പറഞ്ഞിട്ട് എന്തോന്ന് എഴുതി കാണിക്കലില്ല അവിടെ, നോ അനിമൽ ഹീസ് ഹർട്ടൻ അങ്ങനെ പറഞ്ഞിട്ട് ഇതിന് മുമ്പിൽ സ്മോക്കിംഗ് ഈസ് ഇഞ്ചുറി അല്ലേ, സ്മോക്കിംഗ് ഈസ് പ്രൊഹിബിറ്റഡ്, അതുപോലെ നോ അനിമൽ ഈസ് ഹർട്ടഡ് എന്നൊക്കെ പറഞ്ഞിട്ടൊരു വാർണിംഗ് ഒക്കെ സിനിമ കാണുമ്പോൾ എഴുതി കാണിക്കും. ഐ ഹിയർഡ് സോ ഐ ഡിഡ്ന്റ്. ഓക്കെ, ഇമാജിൻ റേ റൈറ്റ്സ് എ ലെറ്റർ ടു ചെയർമാൻ ഓഫ് ദ അനിമൽ വെൽഫെയർ ബോർഡ് ഓഫ് ഇന്ത്യ ഇൻഫോർമിംഗ് ദ ഡീറ്റെയിൽസ് ഓഫ് ദ ഷൂട്ട് ആൻഡ് എൻഷുറിംഗ് ദ റൂൾസ് വിൽ ബി സ്ട്രിക്ട്ലി അധേർഡ് ടു ഡ്രാഫ്റ്റ് എ ലൈക്ലി ലെറ്റർ. സോ ഹി ഈസ് റൈറ്റിംഗ് എ ലെറ്റർ. ഹു ഈസ് റൈറ്റിംഗ്? Satyajit Ray. And what is the purpose of writing that letter? He should get permission from the Animal Welfare Board to use a tiger in the film for shooting. So film shoot ചെയ്യാൻ ഇപ്പോൾ ടൈഗറിനെ അനുവദിക്കണമെന്ന് അതിന് അനുവാദം നോക്കട്ടെ. So there is a permission letter of permission. So how you look at the right side, name and address of the center. Here there is a small mistake. ഇത് ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ കുറേ മുമ്പ് ഉണ്ടാക്കിയതാണ്. സോ ഇപ്പോൾ പുതിയ മോഡലൊക്കെ വന്നിട്ടുണ്ട്. അത് നെയിം ആൻഡ് അഡ്രസ്സ് അല്ല, അവിടെ വെറും അഡ്രസ്സ് വിത്തൗട്ട് നെയിം. വിതൗട്ട് നെയിമാണ് അവിടെ എഴുതേണ്ടത്. ഫ്രം അഡ്രസ്സ് ദെൻ നെയിം ആൻഡ് അഡ്രസ് ഓഫ് ദ റിസീവർ അവിടെ നിങ്ങൾ പൂർണ്ണമായിട്ടും എഴുതണം. സോ ലെറ്റ് us look how should it be. ലെറ്റർ എഴുതുമ്പോൾ സോ യു മേ പ്ലീസ് ലുക്ക്. ഫസ്റ്റ് ഓഫ് ഓൾ you have to write the address without name. Remember, without. So ഒരു 3 വരികളിൽ അഡ്രസ്സ് എഴുതുന്നു. Then you are writing the date here. You can write 23rd October 2018 or any date. Then you are writing to the here what was writing? Animal Welfare Board chairman animal. So address is there. So chairman, here you have to write this chairman Animal Welfare Board. So in this way, Animal Welfare, can you see? Welfare Board, Government of India, New Delhi or something like that. ഇതിൻ്റെ അടിയിൽ തന്നെ വേണമെങ്കിൽ ന്യൂ ഡൽഹി എന്ന് എഴുതാം, സംതിങ് ലൈക്ക് ദാറ്റ്. 3-4 ഇല്ലേ. ദെൻ യു ഹാവ് ടു റൈറ്റ് റെസ്പെക്റ്റഡ് സർ or something like that. റെസ്പെക്റ്റഡ് സർ. പിന്നെയാണ് നമ്മളെ കണ്ടന്റ് എല്ലാം വരുന്നത്. സോ യു ഹാവ് ടു റൈറ്റ് ഹിയർ. സോ ദീസ് തിങ്സ് ആർ ഇമ്പോർട്ടൻറ്റ്. ഹിയർ ദർ ഇസ് നോ നെയിം. ഇവിടെ നെയിം പാടില്ല കേട്ടോ. ഡു നോട്ട് റൈറ്റ് എ നെയിം ദർ. ആൻഡ് ഹിയർ യു അഡ്രസ് ജസ്റ്റ് റൈറ്റ് ഓൺ. ദെൻ യു റൈറ്റ് ദ ഡേറ്റ്. ദെൻ ഇതിൻ്റെ ഇടയിൽ കൂടെ ഒക്കെ ഒരു സ്പേസ്, അഡ്രസ്സ് കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ട് ഒരു വരി എഴുതാനുള്ള സ്ഥലം വിടുന്ന നല്ലതാണ്. അതുപോലെ അതൊക്കെ സെപ്പറേറ്റ് കാണാൻ പറ്റും. ഇറ്റ് ഈസ് അട്രാക്ഷൻ ഈസ് വെരി ഇമ്പോർട്ടൻറ്റ് while you are writing, while preparing a notice, while writing letters. So these discourses are much more important because when it is seen it must be very clear. കണ്ടാൽ തന്നെ ഒരു ലുക്ക് ഉണ്ടാകണം. അതുപോലെ വിട്ടുതിരുത്തുകളൊന്നും ഇല്ലാതെ വളരെ ഭംഗിയായിട്ട് എഴുതുക എന്നുള്ളതാണ്. എന്താണ് എഴുതുക, അത് must be very clear. So in this way, then body of the letter. പിന്നെ വരുന്നത് body of the letter. നമ്മൾ ചെറിയ ബോർഡ്, ക്യാമറ ഷൂട്ടിന് വേണ്ടി ചെറിയ ബോർഡ് വെച്ചതാണ്. That is why we have no space here. Then comes at the last part, body of the letterന് ശേഷം കോംപ്ലിമെൻ്ററി ക്ലോസ് എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് എന്താണ്? യുവേഴ്സ്. ലാസ്റ്റ് ഇങ്ങനെ യുവേഴ്സ് ഫെയ്ത്ത്ഫുള്ളി. Who is writing the letter? It is very clear from the question, so you can write Satyajit Ray. Satyajit Ray is writing a letter. ഇതിനിടയിലൊരു SD എന്ന് എഴുതുന്നത് നല്ലതാണ്. എഴുതിയിട്ടില്ലെങ്കിലും കുഴപ്പമൊന്നുമില്ല. സൈൻഡ്, ദറ്റ് മീൻ ഒപ്പ് വെച്ചിട്ടുണ്ട് എന്നറിയിക്കാൻ വേണ്ടി. So in this way you have to write the letter. Hope you have understood. So we have completed 4 activities today. It should also be in your notebook. ഇതും നോട്ട്ബുക്കിൽ ഉണ്ടായിരിക്കണം. സോ ഈ പാഠത്തിൽ ഇന്നത്തെ ഈ ക്ലാസ്സിൽ യുവർ ഹോംവർക്ക് ഏതൊക്കെയാണ്? What are the homeworks for this day? ലാസ്റ്റ് ക്ലാസ്സിൻ്റെത് 19 വരെയുള്ള ക്വസ്റ്റൻ ആൻസർ ആയിരുന്നു. നൗ ക്വസ്റ്റൻ നമ്പർ 20, 21, 22. 3 questions. Then activity number 1, activity number 2, activity number 3, activity number 4. 4 activities and 3 questions, I think. 20, 21, 22. 3 questions. It is to be clear in your notebook and write very clearly. Some of your handwriting is very bad. I sent you the message itself. So let us stop for the day. Thank you. Have a nice day. We will see you again.